Welcome back, radio fans. Big Al here on this Thursday, June 17th, 2021. Unless you're live in the Eastern Time Zone, it's already Friday, June 18th, 2021. But either way, this is part two, the AM and FM radio stations from across the country, and our rundown on Orlando, Florida. Now, in part one, we took a look at all the stations that aired on the AM side of the dial. Now we're going to take a look at the FM side, but there is a piece of information that I did leave out while I was talking about one particular AM station. And this concerns WDYZ 660 AM. Now, I did not mention their translator station, which is W288CJ, Olivo, Florida, on 105.5 FM. That's the translator that relays WDYZ's programming. Now, with that said, let's jump to the FM side of the Orlando radio market, and we're going to start off with a 4-station simulcast. Alright, 88.3 channel 202 is WPOZ Orlando, and that station broadcasts in high definition. 88.7 channel 204 WMYZ The Villages, which broadcasts primarily to the Ocala Gainesville area, and 91.1 WHYZ Palm Coast, which broadcasts to Daytona Beach. Those two stations also have HD signals. The 4th station of the simulcast airs in traditional analog, and that's 91.7 channel 219 WDOZ Pearson, which is aimed at northern portions of Volusia County. These 4 stations are branded as Z88.3, safe for little ears. Alright, on the FM analog signals on all 4 stations, and on the HD1 side channel of WPOZ, WMYZ, and WHYZ is contemporary Christian music. On the HD2 sub-channels of both WPOZ and WMYZ, WPOZ and WHYZ, I had it right the first time. That's a classic hip-hop format known as Hot 95.9. WMYZ HD2 has a Christian oldies format known as ZRewind.com. On WPOZ HD3 is G-Praise, which is urban gospel music. And on WPOZ HD4 and WHYZ HD4 is a Spanish contemporary Christian station known as La Zeta 102.5. And on WMYZ HD4 is a Christian rock station known as The Rock HD. Alright, WPOZ signed on the air on August 14th, 1995 as WEAZ. They did hold the WAEZ call sign from 93 through 94, but the station was never, or that set of call letters was never used on this station. They did sign on, as I said, as WEAZ in August of 95. The original air dates for the 3 simulcast stations are unknown. Alright. As for FCC licenses, WPOZ has a Class C license. WMYZ has a Class C2 license. WHYZ and WDOZ both have Class C3 licenses. WPOZ, that's 88.3, channel 202. They broadcast with an effective radiated power of 98,400 watts, which is up to 100,000 watts with a beam tilt. Now, those not familiar with a beam tilt, that's used in radio to aim the main lobe of the vertical plane radiation pattern of an antenna below or above the horizontal plane. So if there's a beam tilt involved, it can operate at the maximum ERP by FCC law, which is 100,000 watts. And this is mainly on radio stations that have effective radiated power close to 100,000 watts. Like if they're like 90,000 or so, they use that. Okay, WMYZ, that's 88.7 out of the Villages. They broadcast at 35,000 watts. WHYZ, which is 91.1 channel 216 in Palm Coast. They broadcast at 9,200 watts. And WDOZ Pearson on 91.7 channel 219, the lone analog signal of the four stations. They operate at only 5,000 watts. The studios are located at 1065 Rains Drive in Altamonte Springs, Florida, which is an Orlando suburb. The transmitters for all four stations are unknown. All four stations are owned by Z Ministries Incorporated, and all are licensed by Central Florida Educational Foundation Incorporated. So, this station does broadcast on four stations across Central Florida, but they also operate 13 translator stations. And all of them have separate programming. Main programming heard on Z88.3, that's the main channel, WPOZ. Their programming is relayed on the following translator stations. W209BW Dunillion at 89.7, W274BB 102.7 Haines City, W298BO 107.5 Winter Haven, and W300CL 100, or rather 107.9 in Lakeland. Lakeland and Haines City are technically, if they were in large radio markets, they would both be a part of the Tampa Bay radio market. Alright. Hot 95.9, that is the Christian hip hop station. The main translator that relays Hot 95.9 is the source of the brand, and that's W240BV 95.9 Orlando. This station's programming is also repeated on two other translator stations. W250BH 97.9 FM Melbourne, that's in the Space Coast, and W278BP 103.5 Palm Coast. Now, Hot 95.9 is heard on the second HD digital subchannels of both WPOZ and WHYZ. G-Praise, which is heard on WPOZ's third digital subchannel. The main translator that relays its programming is W292DZ 106.3 FM Orlando. Programming is also repeated on translators W227CP Sanford on 93.3 and W257BZ Port Orange on 102.9. ZRewind.com, that's heard on WMYZ's second digital subchannel, that's the Christian Oldies station. Programming is repeated on translator W245AZ 96.9 FM in the Villages. And La Zeta 102.5, that's heard on WPOZ and WHYZ's fourth digital subchannels. Their programming is relayed on translator W273CA Orlando on 102.5 and W290 and W279CT 103.7 FM Claremont. Now the 102.5 translator, I should say, was under the ownership of iHeartMedia until the Central Florida Educational Foundation repurchased that translator back in September of 2018. So again, Z88.3 is broadcast on 4 stations and repeats its vast array of programming over 13 low-power translator stations across Central Florida. So that's a pretty big network. Okay, 88.9, channel 205 is WKTO Edgewater. This airs to Daytona Beach. No branding or slogan for this station. They play contemporary Christian music. First air dates unknown. They have a Class C2 license with the FCC. Effective radiated power is 2,500 watts. Studios are located at 900 Old Mission Road in New Smyrna Beach. Transmitter for the station is unknown. Station's owned by Milms Community Radio Incorporated, and programming repeats on translator station W238 AM, 95.5 FM, Titusville. Short space next to them on 89.1 channel 206 is WLAZ Kissimmee. This broadcasts to the Kissimmee St. Cloud area, which is south of the city of Orlando. They're known as Pura Palabra Radio. This is a Spanish contemporary Christian station. First air date is unknown. FCC license is a Class C3. They broadcast with an effective radiated power of 5,200 watts. Stations owned by Pura Palabra Media Group and licensed to Cogas Educational TV Incorporated. Now, this is a San Juan-based broadcaster which owns, I think, 4 or 5 Christian radio stations and a Spanish language Christian television station in and around the San Juan area. 89.3 channel 207 is WPIO Titusville, and this is one of 2 stations that show up on this Orlando list on 89.3. There is no brand or slogan for this station. They have a Christian radio format. First air date is October 19th, 1975. They have a Class C3 license with the FCC, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 7,100 watts. The studio and transmitter locations for WPIO are unknown. I'm assuming both are somewhere in or around Titusville. WPIO is owned by Florida Public Radio Incorporated. Programming is simulcast on full power repeater WKFA 89.3 FM in St. Catherine, which airs to both Dade City and Bushnell, Florida, and repeats on translator station W228BK 93.5 FM in Union Park. The other station on 89.3 is WNSS, Palm Coast. Also no brand or slogan for this station, and they too have a Christian radio format. First air date for this station is unknown. They have a Class A license with the FCC, broadcasting with an ERP of 4,000 watts. Station is owned by Houston Christian Broadcasters, the owners of KHCB, AM, and FM, the long-running Christian radio stations in Houston, Texas. And this is, of course, the lone Florida repeater of KHCB FM in Houston. Short space next to those 2 stations on 89.5 channel 208 is WFIT Melbourne, broadcasting in high definition. WFIT 89.5 FM, public radio for the Space Coast. On 89.5 analog and 89.5 HD1 is public radio programming and news from NPR. This station signed on the air in April of 1975. They've got a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission, and they operate with an effective radiated power of 4,700 watts. The station is owned by the Florida Institute of Technology, campus located in Melbourne. 89.7 technically has 2 stations, but the first one we'll look at is part of a simulcast. 89.7 channel 209 is WJLU New Smyrna Beach. And its simulcast partner, 90.3 Channel 212, is WJLH Flagler Beach. Both stations are branded as the Cornerstone, reaching the lost, discipling the saved. Both stations broadcast a mix of Christian contemporary music and Christian talk programming. WJLU signed on in New Smyrna Beach on October 7, 1989, while WJLH signed on in Flagler Beach on August 23, 1996. Both stations have Class C3 licenses with the FCC. WJLV has an effective radiated power output of 10,000 watts, while its simulcast partner WJLH operates at 15,000 watts. Both WJLU and WJLH are owned by Cornerstone Broadcasting Corporation, and programming is repeated on 4 translator stations. W247AK DeLand, Florida, and W247AL Daytona Beach, both on 97.3. W267BX St. Augustine on 101.3. And W274AY Deltona on 102.7. Those 4 translators all relay the WJLU, WJLH simulcast. The other station on 89.7 is a standalone, and that's WRRJ Cocoa Beach. WRRJ 89.7, reggae and island music. That's the format. There's no slogan, there's no brand for this station either. First air date is unknown. They have a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at an ERP of just 175 watts. So of all the FM stations on this list, WRRJ operates with the lowest ERP. They're owned by Black Media Works Incorporated, and their programming is repeated on low power translator W268CB Melbourne on 101.5 FM. Short space next to them on 89.9 Channel 210 is one of Orlando's more successful radio stations, and that's WUCF FM Orlando. They broadcast in high definition. They're known as WUCF 89.9 FM, Jazz, and more. On 89.9 FM analog and 89.9 HD1 is a mix of public radio, college radio, and jazz music. Programming from NPR and Public Radio International. On 89.9 HD2 is a Latin jazz format. WUCF signed on the air on January 30th, 1978, originally as WFTU FM. Back then, the University of Central Florida was known as Florida Technical University. The station became WUCF FM in 1979. They have a Class C3 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 360 watts horizontal and 5,600 watts vertical. The studios and transmitter, I'm assuming, are on the UCF campus. Alright, WUCF FM is owned and operated by the University of Central Florida, main campus in Orlando. And they also own Orlando's PBS member station, WUCF TV, Channel 24. 90.3 Channel 212 is WEJF Palm Bay, and this station airs to Melbourne. And in fact, this is one of 2 stations on 90.3. No slogan or brand for this station either. They have a Christian radio format. They've been on the air since September 1992. They've got a Class C2 license with the FCC, broadcasting at 300 watts ERP horizontal, 30,000 watts ERP vertical. This station is also owned by Florida Public. This station's also owned by Florida Public Radio Incorporated, owners of WPIO in Titusville. The other station on 90.3 is WIGW Eustis, Florida. That's EUSTIS. This is part of the Relevant Radio Network, broadcasting Catholic Christian talk programming from Relevant Radio. Station first aired on December 24th, 2008, which was the initial licensing date of the station by the Federal Communications Commission. Sorry, had the on. Okay. Their license is a Class C3. They broadcast with an effective radiated power of 9,400 watts. Stations owned by Relevant Radio Incorporated, previously known as Immaculate Heart Radio Incorporated. And this is Orlando's FM affiliate of Relevant Radio. Okay, turning the page here to 90.7, channel 214, broadcasting in high definition, and that is WMFE FM Orlando. 90.7 WMFE, public radio for Central Florida. On 90.7 FM analog and 90.7 HD1 is public radio, programming from NPR, American Public Media, Public Radio International, Public Radio Exchange, and the BBC World Service. 90.7 HD2 features classical music. WMFE FM signed on the air on July 14th, 1980. They have a Class C1 license with the Federal Communications Commission. Sorry, can't stop yawning. Anyway, they have a Class C1 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at the maximum effective radiated power of 100,000 watts. Studios are located at 11510 East Colonial Drive in Orlando. Transmitter is 4498 TV Tower Road in suburban Buffalo, Florida. WMFE is owned by Community Communications Incorporated. Programming is simulcast to the Ocala and the villages areas on semi-satellite station WMFV 89.5 FM Cedar Creek, which is a Class C2 license operating at 22,000 watts. And then rounding out the traditional non-commercial band is 91.5, channel 218. This is where you'll find 4 stations, and they're all aimed at different portions of Central Florida. The first station we'll look at The first station we'll look at is WAPN Holly Hill, which airs to Daytona Beach. 91.5 FM All New Love. This is a Christian radio station. First air dates unknown. They have a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating at 1,800 watts ERP. This station's owned by Public Radio Incorporated. Next up is WGTT, Esmeralda, Florida, broadcasting to the Villages and Eustis. This is a Christian talk radio station. In fact, Christian talk radio is their brand. Christian talk and teaching is their format. First air date is unknown. They too have a Class A license with the FCC, operating at just 1,100 watts. Sorry. This station is owned by Bible Clarity. The third station on the list is 91.5, on 91.5 rather, is WMIE FM Coco. This is the Space Coast. This is the station airing to the Space Coast. Coco, Melbourne, and Titusville. WMIE 91.5 FM, today's modern worship. They broadcast a Christian talk format. And notable programs you'll hear on this station include Turning Point with Dr. David Jeremiah, or rather Turning Point with David Jeremiah, In Touch Ministries with Dr. Charles Stanley, and Love Worth Finding, which is hosted by Memphis-based televangelist Adrian Rogers. WMIE signed on the air in December of 1984. They have a Class C3 license with the Federal Communications Commission. And they have the most powerful ERP of the four stations on 91.5 at 20,000 watts. WMIE's studio and transmitter are located at 1150 West King Street in Cocoa. This station is owned by National Christian Network Incorporated. Programming repeats on translator station W272BA 102.3 FM, Cocoa Beach. And then the final station on 91.5 is aimed at the Metro Orlando area, and that's WPRK Winter Park. The Voice of Rollins College. This makes it a college radio station. First air date is listed as December 8th, 1952 on 88.1 FM, operating with just 10 watts effective radiated power. The station later moved to 91.5 FM, where they broadcast with an effective radiated power of 1300 watts. This station has a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission. Studios are located at the Kathleen W. Rollins Hall on the campus of Rollins College in Winter Park. And I assume the transmitter is somewhere on the campus as well. I just wrote a question mark next to that. Station is owned, of course, by Rollins College, which is located, as I alluded to, in Winter Park, Florida. That's the traditional non-commercial band. Now let's jump to the commercial band. Beginning with 92.3 Channel 222, broadcasting in high definition, WWKA Orlando. K92.3, Orlando's number one for new country. On 82.3 FM analog and 92.3 HD1 is country music with no additional subchannels. This station first signed on in 1949 as WDBO FM. Now this would be the FM simulcast of WDBO AM. The station became WWKA FM in 1983 and then dropped the FM suffix from the call sign in 2012. So now they're just simply known as WWKA. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 99,000 watts, and that ups to 100,000 watts, the max for an FM station by FCC law, with a beam tilt. Studios are located on North John Young Parkway, there we go. North John Young Parkway in Orlando. Transmitter is on Fort Christmas Road in Buffalo. WWKA is owned by the Cox Media Group, licensed to Cox Radio LLC. 92.7 Channel 224 is WBHQ Beverly Beach, and this station also broadcasts in high definition, and they're aimed primarily at Flagler County. They're known as Beach 92.7 variety hits all the time. 92.7 FM analog and 92.7 HD1 is adult hits. 92.7 HD2 is the news talk simulcast of WNZF, which is found on, I think it's 1550. Yes, it is 1550. HD3 is an oldie station branded as Cool 100.9. Now, there was no translator information for Cool 100.9, so we'll just leave it at that. WBHQ signed on the air in 1975 and was known by 4 other sets of call letters before becoming WBHQ. They have a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an ERP of 5,500 watts. Studios and transmitter are presumably located in Beverly Beach. WBHQ is owned by Flagler County Broadcasting, LLC. 93.1 Channel 226 is WKRO FM Port Orange. This broadcast to the Daytona Beach area. 93.1 Coast Country, Daytona's country station. That said, this is a country music station signed on the air in 1993 as an alt rocker, WEEG. They became WKRO FM in 1994. They had a Class C3 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 24,500 watts. They are owned by Southern Shore Communications of Florida, LLC. Jumping ahead to 94.5 Channel 233, broadcasting in high definition, WCFB Daytona Beach. Star 94.5, Orlando's only R&B. On 94.5 FM analog and 94.5 HD1 is Urban AC. 94.5 HD2 is Sports, and this is the new home of ESPN Radio in Orlando. Remember, this used to be on 580 AM before Cox Media Group decided to move the news talk format back to 580. WCFB signed on the air in March 1947 as WNDB FM. The station was also known as WDNJ and WWLV and became WCFB in 1992. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at the maximum ERP of 100,000 watts. Studios are on North Pyongyang Parkway in Orlando. Transmitter is located in DeLand, Florida, on Redlands Drive. WCFB is owned by Cox Media Group, licensed to Cox Radio, LLC. 95.1 Channel 236 is WFKS Melbourne. This airs to the Space Coast. KISS 95.1, number 1 for new hit music. It's on the FM analog signal of 95.1, and on 95.1 HD1 is a top 40 CHR format. 95.1 HD2 is an urban contemporary station heard on the iHeartRadio app called All My Jams. Their slogan is today's R&B and the best old school. First air date for WFKS was February 1st, 1967 as WYRE. They used the WMMB FM call sign during its construction permit from 1963 to 1967, and they also used 3 other call signs in their history between 1987 and 2011. Victor's in the house. What's up, Victor? Alright. WFKS has a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission. They broadcast with an effective radiated power of 4,300 watts. Studios and transmitter, I assume, are in or around Melbourne. They're owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses, LLC. Short space next to them on 95.3 Channel 237, also broadcasting in high definition, is WPYO Maitland. Power 95.3, Orlando's new number 1 for all the hits. On 95.3 FM analog and 95.3 HD1 is top CHR with no additional subchannels. WPYO signed on the air in September 1st, 1968, as WTLN FM. Now, this would be the simulcast partner to WTLN AM. The station became WPYO in 1999 It was around that time the station became a dance EDM station known as Party 95.3. They have a Class C3 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 12,000 watts. Studios are located on North John Young Parkway in Orlando. Transmitter is in suburban Pine Hills. Alright, WPYO is in the process of being divested to another company. So right now the owners are listed as CXR Radio LLC, which is the divestiture trust for the Cox Media Group, which had been the station's owner. 95.7 Channel 239, broadcasting in high definition, is WHOG FM, Ormond by the Sea, Daytona Beach. 95.7 The Hog, Daytona's Rock Radio. On 95.7 FM Analog and 95.7 HD1 is Classic Rock. 95.7 HD2 is a station known as 94.1 Hot Daytona, which plays urban contemporary music. That station is relayed on translator W231CN in Daytona Beach on 94.1. WHOG-FM signed on the air in 1995, approximately 1995. Roots for this station may have gone back a little further than that. And they were also known as WNDB-FM. They used the WTSM call sign for a brief period in 1996 before becoming the current WHOG-FM. They have a Class C2 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 48,000 watts. Studios are located on LPGA Boulevard, with transmitter on Wesley Street, both located in Daytona Beach. WHOG-FM is owned by Southern Stone Communications of Florida, LLC, and this station airs programming from Westwood 1. Short space next to them on 95.9 Channel 240 is WROK-FM Sebastian, Melbourne, Titusville, Cocoa. That's the Space Coast. 95.9 The Rocket, the Space Coast Classic Rock Station. This is a classic rocker which signed on the air on September 20th, 2001 as WINT. The station was also known as WSJZ-FM and was identified as WBKM from 1999 to 2001. This was prior to the station signing on the air, so obviously WBKM was never used on the air. WROK has a Class C3 license with the Federal Communications Commission. They operate with an ERP output of 25,000 watts. Studios are located on West Hibiscus Road in Melbourne. Transmitter is located on Miko Road in Sebastian, the station's city of license. Alright, WROK-FM is owned by Cumulus Media and licensed to Cumulus Licensing LLC. This station is not at all associated with WROK-AM, which is a Town Square Media-owned news talk station in Rockford, Illinois. 96.5 Channel 243, broadcasting in high definition, is WOEX Orlando, Éxitos 96.5 on 96.5 FM Analog and 96.5 HD1 is Spanish Contemporary Hits. So this is pretty much like a Spanish Top 40 station. 96.5 HD2 is the news talk simulcast of WDBO 580 AM, and this was the format that had been on the main station up until June 29th of last year. WOEX signed on the air in 1952 as WHOO-FM. This would be the simulcast partner to WHOO-AM. They used the WHOO call sign as early as 1948, and then from 1987 to 2011 they were known as WHTQ, and then during the life of the news talk format on 96.5's main channel, they were known as WDBO FM from 2011 till 2020. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at an ERP of 99,000 watts, which jumps to 100,000 watts with the beam tilts. Studios are located on North John Young Parkway, that's FL Route 423 in Orlando. The station's transmitter is on Fort Christmas Road, FL Route 420 in Buffalo. WOEX is owned by Cox Media Group and licensed to Cox Radio LLC. 97.5 Channel 248 is one of few stations that can air to both the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic Coast in Central Florida, and that's WPCV Winter Haven. Broadcasting primarily to Polk County, but their signal extends into portions of both the Orlando radio market and the adjoining Tampa Bay radio market. This station is known as 97.5 WPCV, your hometown country station. This station plays country music, and they first signed on the air as WINT FM on February 7, 1963. They also went by WXKL and WHFL. They became WPCV with their country music format in 1975. They have a Class C0 license with the Federal Communications Commission. They broadcast with an effective rated power of 100,000 watts. So this station easily reaches Orlando and eastern portions of the Tampa Bay radio market. Studios are located in Lakeland, Florida, which is part of the Tampa Bay metro area. Transmitter is located east of Haines City, Florida, which is also part of the Tampa Bay metro area. WPCV is owned by Hall Communications Incorporated. 98.1 Channel 251 is WNUE FM, Daytona. The Joy FM 98.1, helping you find joy. This is a Christian adult contemporary station, which first signed on as WRMF FM in September of 1968. As you all know, the WRMF FM call sign is now parked on a successful West Palm Beach hot AC station. Alright, the station initially broadcast on 98.3 upon their sign-on in 1968. They were also known as WAJX, WVCF, and WGNE FM. The station would then move to its current position at 98.1 in 1990. They have a Class C2 license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating with an ERP of 50,000 watts. The station, for the time, is owned by Intravision Communications Corporation and operated by the Radio Trading Network under a local marketing agreement. Full acquisition of WNUE by the Radio Training Network is pending FCC approval. 98.5 Channel 253. That's WSBH, Satellite Beach. This airs to Melbourne. 98.5 The Beach, the Space Coast's greatest hits. They have a classic hits format. Station signed on the air in 2006. They have a Class A license with the FCC, operating at 6,000 watts effective radiated power. They're owned by Horton Broadcasting Company Incorporated. Short space next to them on 98.7, channel 254. It's WAKX Palm Coast. Kicks Country 98.7, today's hot country, and your all-time favorites. This station airs country music, and they have hourly news updates from Fox News Radio. WAKX signed on the air on August 1st, 2012, held the WPLC call sign while the station had a construction permit from 2009 until August 1st, 2012, when the call sign was then switched to the current WAKX. They have a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating with an effective radiated power of 4,000 watts. They're owned by Flagler County Broadcasting and licensed to Flagler Broadcasting LLC. Short space next to them on 98.9, channel 255, is one of Orlando's highest rated stations consistently, WMMO Orlando. And as I mentioned, they broadcast in high definition. 98.9 WMMO, Orlando's classic hits. So on 98.9 FM analog and 98.9 HD1 is a classic rock leaning classic hits format with no additional subchannels. This station signed on the air on August 19, 1990 as WEZO and was also known as WNRG while the station was under construction, but the WNRG calls were never used. They had that call sign in 1988, but in 1990 they changed to the current WMMO. They have a Class C2 license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating at an effective radiated power of 44,000 watts. Studios are located on North John Young Parkway, Orlando. Transmitters on Park Hamilton Boulevard in Pine Hills. This is the same transmitter tower WTLN AM uses. This station is owned by the Cox Media Group and licensed to Cox Radio LLC. Next up is 99.3, channel 257. That's WLRQ FM, Cocoa, Melbourne. Light Rock 99.3. Brevard's official at work station. And they broadcast in high definition. If I said it earlier, then you got that info twice. Oh well. Alright. 99.3 FM analog, 99.3 HD1 is adult contemporary. Not sure if this station plays Christmas music during the holidays, but I'm pretty sure they do. 99.3 HD2 is an oldies format branded as Real Fun Beach Radio. Their slogan is Songs for the Summertime. WLRQ FM signed on as WEZY FM on June 23, 1982 and became WLRQ in 1988. They have a Class C2 license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating at 50,000 watts ERP. Station is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses LLC. Short space next to them on 99.5, channel 258 is WLOV FM, Daytona Beach Springs. Or rather, Daytona Beach Shores. I'll get the town right. 99.5 Love FM, Daytona's greatest hits. This is another station that has a classic hits format. They signed on the air on March 21st, 2012. They have a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission. They operate at 2,200 watts and are owned by Southern Stone Communications, and licensed to Southern Broadcasting of Pensacola, Incorporated. 100.3, channel 262. Broadcasting in high definition is WRUM, Orlando. Rumba 100.3, más música, variedad. On 100.3 FM analog and 100.3 HD1 is a mix of Latin pop, reggaeton, and Spanish tropical music. On 100.3 HD2 is a bilingual CHR station known as Mega 97.1, donde viven dos hits. WRUM signed on the air in 1950 as WKIS-FM and also went by 3 other call signs, including WDIZ. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating with an effective rated power of 100,000 watts, maximum for an FM station by FCC law, unless they're Class B grandfathered superstations. Studios are located on Maitland Center Parkway in Maitland. Transmitter is in Buffalo on Fort Christmas Road. WRUM is owned by iHeartMedia, licensed to IHM Licenses, LLC. Translator stations W246BT Claremont and W246CK Kissimmee, both on 97.1 FM. Relays Mega 97.1 and its bilingual CHR format on WRUM HD2. So WRUM is a sister station to our next station, and that's 101.1 Channel 266, also broadcasting in high definition. That's WJRR Cocoa Beach, 101.1 WJRR, Orlando's rock station. On 101.1 FM analog and 101.1 HD1 is Active Rock, programming from iHeartRadio, Compass Media Networks, Premier Radio Networks, and Premium Choice. 101.1 HD2 is the sports simulcast of WYGM 740 AM, also known as 96.9 The Game. And of course, they air Fox Sports Radio programming, as well as Orlando Magic Basketball and Orlando City FC Soccer. 101.1 HD3 is Alt 101.1 HD3, which plays alternative rock. This station signed on the air on July 19, 1962 as WXBR, and they also went by 4 different sets of call signs. Give me just a second, man. Neck's starting to hurt. Trying to get low. Okay, there we go. Alright. Now we can continue on with this. Alright. WJRR has a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating at the maximum ERP output of 100,000 watts. Studios are located on Maitland Center Parkway in Maitland. Transmitter is also on Fort Christmas Road, but located in the town of Christmas, Florida. WJRR is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses, LLC. So as I alluded to earlier, this is a sister station of WRUM. Translator station W245CL 96.9 Daytona relays the sports format, which airs on WYGM AM and on WJRR FM HD2. 101.9 Channel 270, broadcasting in high definition, is WQMP Daytona Beach. FM 101.9 Orlando's New Alternative. On 101.9 FM Analog and 101.9 HD1 is Alternative Rock. 101.9 HD2 is a channel known as Orlando's New Arrivals, which plays New Alternative. 101.9 HD3 is Channel Q, which is LGBTQ talk, dance music, EDM, and Top 40. WQMP signed on as WMFJ-FM on November 1st, 1967. This station also used 5 other call signs, including WJHM, which they used from 1988 to 2016. WQMP has a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating at an effective radiated power of 9,200 watts. I'm going to jump through my notes here, and I can tell you that their studios are located in Maitland, Florida, on Pembroke Drive, and their transmitter is in Orange City, Florida. WQMP is owned by Odyssey Incorporated, previously known as Intercom Communications. License is held by Odyssey License LLC. 102.7 Channel 274 is WHKR Rockledge. This broadcasts to Melbourne and the Space Coast. I love the brand of this station. 102.7 The Hit Kicker. All one word, Hit Kicker. Today's best country. This is a country music station which signed on the air in 1989. They have a Class C2 license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating at 50,000 watts. Studios presumably are located in Melbourne. Transmitter is in Cocoa, Florida, or rather near Cocoa, Florida. 102.7 The Hit Kicker, also known as WHKR, is owned by Cumulus Media and licensed to Cumulus Licensing LLC. Next up is 103.1 Channel 276, broadcasting in high definition. That's WOTW Windermere. 103.1 The Wolf. New country and all-time favorites. On 103.1 FM analog and 103.1 HD1 is country music. 103.1 HD2 is a mainstream rock station known as Bud FM. 103.1 HD3 is an oldies format. They're known as True Oldies Y100.1. This is the simulcast of Ocala, Florida based WXUS 102.3 HD2, which is technically licensed to Denilian but airs to Ocala. WOTW signed on the air as WLOQ in 1966. They were also known as WHKQ. They have a Class C2 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an ERP output of 22,000 watts. Studios are located on Lucian Way in Maitland. Transmitter is located at Veterans Memorial Park on West Story Road in Winter Garden. WOTW is owned by New York City-based JVC Media LLC, licensed to JVC Media of Florida LLC. Translator station W261BA Ocala at 100.1 FM relays the oldies format, heard on WOTW HD3 and originating from WXUS HD2 in Denilian, Florida. Short space next to them on 103.3 Channel 277 is WVYB Holly Hill, Daytona Beach. 103.3 The Vibe, Daytona's #1 hit music channel. This is a top 40 CHR, signing on the air as WAHJ in 1996. This call sign, however, does date back to as far as 1994. The station was also known as WDXD from 1979, or rather 1997 to 1999. That is when the station became the current WVYB. WVYB has a Class A license with the Federal Communications Commission. They operate with an effective radiated power of 6,000 watts. This station is owned by Southern Stone Communications LLC. Next up is 104.1 Channel 281, broadcasting in high definition. That's WTKS Cocoa Beach. Real Radio 104.1. We say what we want. This station airs talk programming during the week, and alternative rock on weekends. That's on 104.1 FM analog and 104.1 HD1. 104.1 HD2 is an urban contemporary station known as 104.5 The Beat. WTKS signed on as WRKT FM in 1962. This station used 6 different call signs before becoming WTKS in 1993, with the FM suffix added to the call sign in 2002. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at the maximum effective radiated power of 100,000 watts. Studios are located on Maitland Center Parkway in Maitland. Transmitter is in Buffalo, Florida on Fort Christmas Road. WTKS is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses LLC. Translator station W283AN 104.5 FM Altamonte Springs relays the urban contemporary format known as 104.5 The Beat on WTKS HD2. 105.1 Channel 286, broadcasting in high definition, is WOMX FM Orlando. Mix 105.1, Orlando's best mix, on 105.1 FM analog and 105.1 HD1 is Hot AC, and no additional subchannels. This station signed on the air on August 15, 1967 as WWQS. They were also known as WBJW-FM and became WOMX-FM in 1989. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with the maximum ERP of 100,000 watts. Studios are located on Pembroke Drive in Maitland. Transmitter is on Fort Christmas Road, Buffalo. WOMX-FM is owned by Odyssey Incorporated, licensed to Odyssey License LLC, making it a sister station to our next station, and that's 105.9 Channel 290. Broadcasting in high definition, WOCL DeLand, 105.9 Sunny FM. Nobody plays more 80s. On 105.9 FM analog and 105.9 HD1 is Classic Hits. 105.9 HD2 is the national sports feed, or rather the national feed of CBS Sports Radio, necessitated by the fact that Orlando does not have a present CBS Sports Radio affiliate. 105.9 HD3 is a station known as OK 93.5, which plays regional Mexican music. WOCL signed on the air on July 10, 1967 as WOOO-FM. They later were known as WDLF and WELE-FM. The station's call sign became WOCL in 1986, and it's stuck ever since. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an ERP of 100,000 watts, maximum by FCC law for an FM station. Studios are on Pembroke Drive in Maitland, with transmitter facilities in Orange City, Florida. WOCL is owned by Odyssey Incorporated, licensed to Odyssey License LLC. Translator station W228DF 93.5 FM Orlando relays the regional Mexican format on WOCL's third digital subchannel. 106.3 Channel 292 is WCIF Melbourne. WCIF 106.3 FM, where Christ is first. This is a Christian radio station which signed on the air on January 1st,
1980, and they've had the same call sign and the same format since their inception. They have a Class C3 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting with an effective radiated power of 13,500 watts. Stations owned by First Baptist Church of Melbourne and licensed to First Baptist Church Incorporated. Alright, final page, final three stations. Starting off with 106.7, channel 294, broadcasting in high definition. WXXL, Tavares, Florida, XL 1067 on 1067 FM analog and 1067 HD1 is Top 40 CHR. Of course, XL 1067's slogan is Orlando's #1 hit music station. This would make it a competitor to WPYO Power 95.3. 106.7 HD2 is Pride Radio, musically driven, community inspired. They play dance and EDM music geared to the LGBTQ community. 106.7 HD3 is soft adult contemporary known as The Breeze. Their slogan is Relaxing Favorites. WXXL signed on the air on February 12, 1969 as WLDE FM. The station went through 4 call sign changes using 3 different call signs and becoming WXXL in 1990. They have a Class C1 license with the FCC, operating at the maximum 100,000 watts ERP. Studios are located on Maitland Center Drive in Maitland. Transmitter is located in Veterans Memorial Park on West Story Road in Winter Garden. This is the transmitter shared with WOTW and WTLN. WXXL is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses LLC. 107.1 channel 296 brings us to the Space Coast for the final time. That's WAOA FM Melbourne. 107.1 A1A, the Space Coast #1 hit music station. This is also a Top 40 CHR. They've been on the air since November 1972. They signed on officially as WTAI FM in November 1972. They also went by 2 other call signs before becoming WAOA in 1989, and has used the FM suffix in the station's call sign since 2000. They have a Class C1 license with the Federal Communications Commission, broadcasting at the maximum ERP of 100,000 watts. Studios are located in Melbourne. Transmitter is on Harlech Road south of Lake Washington Road, which is also in Melbourne. Transmitter is visible from I-95. WAOA FM is owned by Cumulus Media, licensed to Cumulus Licensing LLC. And the final station we'll be looking at tonight is 107.7 channel 299, broadcasting in high definition. WMGF Mount Dora, Magic 1077, Orlando's best variety of the 80s, 90s, and today. On 107.7 FM analog and 107.7 HD1 is adult contemporary, and this station also plays Christmas music, primarily from Thanksgiving through Christmas Day. 107.7 HD2 is smooth jazz, dubbed as Orlando's smooth jazz. 107.7 HD3 is the news talk simulcast of AM 540 WFLF. News, weather, traffic is that station's slogan. WMGF signed on the air in February 1966 as WHIY. They were also known as WORJ and WJYO before becoming WMGF in 1990. They have a Class C license with the Federal Communications Commission, operating at the maximum ERP of 100,000 watts. They broadcast from studios and offices on Maitland Center Drive in Maitland, Florida. Their transmitter is located off Miller Road in Orange City. WMGF is owned by iHeartMedia and licensed to IHM Licenses LLC. So, we have just completed the tour of the AM and FM radio stations across Orlando, Daytona Beach, and the Space Coast, including the city of Melbourne. Alright, I'm about to upload this to YouTube and to Facebook, and then I'm gonna take a weekend off to decompose a little bit, and then I will begin gathering information on my next market, the San Diego market, and it's gonna be pretty interesting with all the stations across the border from Mexico in this market. So stay tuned for that. The San Diego video will be coming real soon. In the meantime, to my YouTube subscribers or my YouTube viewers, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel and ring the bell twice to get notified every time I post a vid. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you later. Peace out.